Hello everybody, I am Fuzzy Face. Welcome back to another episode of this Motorsport Manager career. It is the start of the third season. We're getting ready to build our FW43 car, the Williams car for the 2020 season. Ignore the date in the bottom right hand corner. When a mod is done, you can't actually change the in-game date. But we're 2 years ahead of that. We just have to pretend that we're in the 2020 season. We've got a few things to do today, but this video is just going to be setting up the new car and getting ready for the new season. I'm a little bit pushed for time, so I don't really have time to do the Sydney Grand Prix today. That will be in the episode coming tomorrow, so the first race of the season will be in the second episode of season 3. That will be coming tomorrow, but as it is, we're going to get into everything. We're going to go over the driver market, who our driver is going to be for next season. If you've watched the videos before, you will know I put up a poll just after the halfway point of last season with the drivers that I would like to see and that would accept a contract with us. That poll was won by Lando Norris with 27% of the vote. Lando Norris was also my choice for the driver position here at the Williams team as well. In my own mind, it was between him and Nick De Vries. I'm sort of a bigger fan of Nick De Vries, but Lando Norris does have more potential. He is a British driver. Getting a British driver into the British team that we can work with, improve over the seasons, and that is a little bit more suitable for this game. In second place in that poll was Nico Hulkenberg with 22%, then Valtteri Bottas with 14%, George Russell with 12%, and Nick De Vries with 12% as well. Everyone else that was in that poll was under 10%. Sergey here, unfortunately, even though he's had a really good season this season, he had a really good race as well in Dubai 2 races ago where he finished third, got his first podium. He only got 2% of the vote, which might have just been 1 vote. So unfortunately, he's going to be bumped down to the reserve driver. It is with a heavy heart. He has performed really well this season, but Lando, I'm hoping, is going to be pushing up here somewhere if he can get somewhere close, because the second Ferrari always seems really slow. They always seem to put everything towards their first driver, as pretty much the Mercedes does as well, although Kevin Magnussen isn't the best rated driver in this game, so it's going to be interesting to see what Mercedes do this season. Esteban Ocon, meanwhile, he had a really storming season. I think he ended up with 6 podiums over the season. If we just go here and look, 6 podiums over the entire season. Absolutely brilliant season for him. I'm hoping he's going to get a little bit closer to the top 2, but I wouldn't be expecting him to push for the title. Our car at the moment is the 6th best overall. I've got a new engine building. Hopefully that's going to be done in time for the end of the season. The parts that I'm improving at the moment, they're going to take 15 days. I don't think we're going to get them fully up to scratch before the end of the season. But hopefully our car is going to be 4th rated next season. I don't think we can get close to the Red Bull. Obviously they came back late in the season. Their engine progress took a better turn. And over the last 2 races, they had some really good results. As we saw, Danny Rick was 2nd, but in Dubai, they had their first 1-2 of the season. And that win from Danny Rick was the only time a non-Mercedes or Ferrari driver won a Grand Prix this season. So anyway, as we know, Lando Norris won the poll that we had up. He was my choice, as I said. He's a 3-star rated driver. He does have a lot of potential. His stats are pretty good though. They're more evenly spread out. We've put the offer in for him, so hopefully he's going to go ahead and accept that. So we're just going to move on now. We've got contracts running down. Lance Stroll is out, although we terminated his contract to the end of the last episode. We've got the car repair complete, which we don't really need to look at because we're just improving the gearbox and the brakes and stuff. And we're just going to see what sort of prize money we get here for the 2019 season, where we came 4th overall. Obviously ignore the date again. So what are we getting? 54 million into the bank account. Obviously 88 million there now as well. I think the new car is going to cost about 54, 56. Manager of the season is William Williams, which is us, and driver of the season is Sergey Sorokin. Poor Sergey Sorokin. I might even think about releasing him. I don't know whether to release him because he's had such a good season this season. I don't sort of want him to be rotting in our reserves. He does deserve to drive for another team, but I do want him to do the practices as well though, because he is going to give us money next season. His stats are refocused at the moment, so currently he's a better driver than Lando Norris. So should we fire him so he can get a better seat next season? I'm not bothered about the money. I just want to keep this realistic in that he would be unhappy in that reserve seat, and yeah, and then we can just bring in another young driver maybe who is not going to get in the car. But I'm going to go ahead and fire him. We're going to do it. I want him to have a chance at racing next season, just to keep things realistic here, because it seems strange that the driver of the season wouldn't get a seat for next year. So hopefully we might see him in F1, but possibly he's going to get a seat in Formula 2 next season. So let's just move on here, see if the teams are going to move up the championships. We've got the new rules for 2020 in effect now. We've got the qualifying base grids with 3 sessions, and we've got the short practice sessions now. So what we've gained in the short practice is going down with the AI possibly looking after their tyres. A lot of the teams at the top of the grid, since the tyres are pre-distributed, which means we only get 5 of the softest tyre compound. Once it gets to the end of the third qualifying session, we might see some of the top teams not with enough of the softest compound to actually chase pole. So we'll just have to see how that works, and if that is sort of happening, we'll have to come up with some way to sort of keep it fair. Maybe we don't run on the softest compound either. Maybe we just follow what the AI is doing, and if we waste all our super softs, then we waste our super softs. Obviously, I got rid of the qualifying base grids for the first 2 seasons. I actually took it out of the game, because it did seem to mess up the AI as well, in that you, just like in real life, you use a used tyre, but the qualifying session, it just seems to take an inordinate amount out of the tyres at the start of the session, and it sort of made the top cars not really perform to their best, and you sort of got like the Force Indias that were doing a long one stop, just winning the race, and I'm hoping that's not going to happen here. But anyway, we'll get on to the promotions and relegations. ART have decided not to take up the offer, so once again Toro Rosso, who have finished bottom for the last 2 seasons, have been given a stay of execution. ART are not coming up, and meanwhile in GP3 Trident Junior, the Trident Junior team have turned down the offer as well. This means that MP Motorsport are staying in F2, so everyone there has rejected the call for going up, which seems sort of strange that always happens. I think the season before, Campos actually went down to Formula 3. If we just head over to Formula 3, have we got the Campos team here? Yeah, the Campos, and we'll go back to 2017 to see where they finished. The Campos racing team, they won 2 races over the season, but they actually finished behind their junior team overall last season, which seems pretty strange. So yeah, so our driver's not rated the best at the moment. We're just waiting to see if we can get Lando Norris into the team. So Lando Norris has accepted this contract, so we're going to go ahead and sign him. We're going to put him into the second seat instead of Alice Real. You look a little bit more like a boy, Alice. But anyway, we'll go there, continue to finances. It's not going to cost us much money to get him into the team. But there we go, we see that we're pretty decent now. Lando's drivers are pretty decent. He also does have this racer stat like Esteban Ocon does. All these stats get improved by 2 during the race, which is going to come in really handy. His overtaking's pretty decent as well. He's pretty smooth on the tyres. So I'm hoping we're going to see some improvement this season from Lando Norris. He's been the reserve driver for McLaren over the last 2 seasons, so hopefully he's going to have a good season. If we go by what Sorokin did, Lando Norris should be a little bit better than that, especially during the races. He might not qualify better than him, but in the races he should be able to outperform what Sorokin did last season. So hopefully, even though he's not the best rated driver at the moment, he's still going to have a strong season, and then maybe next season, the season after, he's going to be up there challenging with Esteban Ocon for a couple of wins. We've got just under £15 million coming into the team from the money that we were saving last season. It just puts us over £100 million. Obviously, I don't have much choice of what I can actually do with the car here. We can either go for the Honda engine, which gives us a base stat modifier of 0, the improvability is medium, fuel efficiency strong, although we can go with the strong Mercedes engine, so it's a no-brainer here. We're definitely going to go Mercedes. There's no point picking the Honda engine. Fuel supplier, we can go Castrol or Petronas. There's not that much difference between them. What would the difference be? We can change the nose height a little bit more with Petronas. It doesn't seem to make that much difference between Castrol and Petronas overall, so we might as well go with Castrol here, save a little bit of money. It's only £500,000, but it doesn't really matter. We can only go with Mercedes for the material supplier. No choice there, and brake supplier is the only one way we get a free choice. Although, what would this do if we just click through these? These are the same, but Pirelli improved the tyre wear and tyre heating all the way up to 4 stars here. Improvability is a little bit low here. If we did that, would it improve the... No, that improves that, doesn't it? Wrong way around. We want the rear package for the improvability. If we put that I want the improvability a little bit more than the tyre. And I want the tyre heating doing a little bit better, because I want the tyre heating to be a little bit better than last season. So I'm just going to keep it at that. The improvability is not all the way there, but hopefully we get some dilemmas in through the pre-season, and we can go ahead and improve a few of these. But as it is, the car's are only costing £500,000 less than last season. Obviously 43 million there. We've got quite a bit of money left. 56 million pounds we still have left overall, which is going to be pretty decent going into the next season. Our drivers are below average at the moment. Obviously a lot of teams have still got a lot of movement to do. Our car looks pretty decent there. We're not actually going to hover over that until the start of the season to see where we're at, but hopefully that is going to be a decent car. Hopefully that is going to be 4th place. But as it is, we've got £56 million in the bank. We might have room to work on the HQ a little bit, but I just want to know before we head into next season. We're going to try sign another reserve driver, see how much money we're going to be losing per race next season. That is going to be the most important thing. Obviously we're not going to be making any money. It's just going to be a loss leader, so we might not get room to work on the HQ. If that happens, it's just something that happens, but we might be struggling for money a little bit next season since we've got rid of both paid drivers. So this is the new livery on the car. We've kept to the older colour scheme. I've replaced the more classic blue with the more current Williams blue that they use on their logo. So the blue's slightly changed. The white and the yellow have been moved down the car onto the side pods. As you see with the tyre wear and tyre heating, we've had a couple of dilemmas through which have allowed us to improve both of those to the 5-star rating, spending £5 million on doing that. But it's worth it to get the tyre heating and the tyre wear where we want it to be. There hasn't been anything for improvability. I don't know if there's going to be any more dilemmas here, but I'm pretty happy with this livery. I was going to take the yellow out altogether and just run with the current Williams colour scheme of blue and white. Obviously outside the Martini Racing colours they have that red and the light blue in there, but I was going to keep it to the more Williams colour that they seem to use on most of their stuff, just the blue and white. Decided to keep some yellow in there. It does have some yellow on the rear wing on here as well, and a tiny bit on the front wing, so I'm pretty happy with that. It looks pretty decent overall. A lot of the liveries here sort of cut out a lot of the logos. Some of the ones that I like, you can't see the logos at all of the new sponsors, because we can't really change the colour of the sponsors since they're just pretty much an image. You can't actually change the colour of them, so this was the best I feel that we could do. A little bit more professional. It doesn't match sort of the older livery that we had last season, but I think this one's still pretty classy here. I'm pretty happy with it. And yeah, so we're going to get on and just skip ahead a few more days and we should be getting ready for the driver market. I haven't been paying attention to the mail unless we've got this through saying we've got a livery, so it's going to be a surprise to me once we get to that point. So hopefully we've had some pretty big shake-ups here heading into the 2020 season. We're right at the beginning of pre-season testing now, so no teams are going to make any changes to their driver lineup from here. Alfa Romeo Sauber have retained Charles Leclerc and Marcus Ericsson for the next season. Their car is still rated the worst overall. I would love to rescue Leclerc from here. He's one of my favourite drivers, been following his career for a long time, but I always use him in all of my games usually. So we've gone with Lando Norris in our car. As we move on to Aston Martin Red Bull, Pascal Wehrlein makes his return to Formula 1. Where has he been over the last season? He was... No, that's just because he moved. He was at the was in the reserve driver position at Mercedes. He moves over to Red Bull, which means that Max Verstappen is with a new team here. Whether he's remained in Formula 1 is another question, and Dan Ticktum remains in that reserve seat for Red Bull. Force India, and that is where we see that Max Verstappen has gone, and he will partner Sergio Perez next season. Robert Kubica, our former driver right at the start of this season, remains in the reserve seat there. The Force India car is not that good overall, so it's going to be pretty hard to imagine Max Verstappen being up there for the points. He might score some throughout the season, but we never know. Force India, they are one of the leaders in the midfield, and the AI for Force India always does seem to chase a one stop. So now that the 3-stage qualifying is back, which might affect the top of the field, if Max Verstappen runs really long in that Force India and goes for the one stop, we might still see him up the order there. But anyway, we'll move on to Haas, who have retained even Roman Grosjean and Carlos Sainz in that seat. Their car not the best rated overall. McLaren, Valtteri Bottas switches teams once again. He's gone from Mercedes to Ferrari. Now finds himself at McLaren. The McLaren car here is pretty decent, and he might be the favoured driver. Obviously, whilst he was at Mercedes, whilst he was at Ferrari, he was behind Hamilton and Vettel respectively. Here, as we saw last season, Raikkonen was the #1 driver in this McLaren, always finishing ahead of Van Dorn, even though his star rating wasn't as good. So we might actually see an improvement from Valtteri Bottas this season. Would be good to see what he can get out of that McLaren car. Mercedes have retained Lewis Hamilton and Kevin Magnussen as well. Their drivers rated the best overall in the game. The car just a little bit under the Ferrari team. Renault, meanwhile, have retained Hulkenberg and Rosenqvist. Hulkenberg was one of our targets, but he got beaten out in the pole just by Lando Norris. We move on to the Ferrari team. They have Sebastian Vettel and Alex Lynn. Alex Lynn has made the move to Ferrari. Obviously a former GP3 champion, and he was actually a Williams development driver for 2 seasons, wasn't he, Alex Lynn? Their driver lineup is still the fourth best in the game. So we're going to get scouting Alex Lynn here just to see how good he is in the game. But I'm guessing he's only a 3-star rated driver. Where's he been recently? He's been with the Aston Martin team doing the Endurance Series. So a little bit of an interesting move there for Alex Lynn. How long is he there for? We can't actually see how long his contract is until we actually scout him. We'll move on to Toro Rosso. They finished bottom the last 2 seasons. They retained Pierre Gasly, who's made quite a big step up in his performance. Now almost a 4-star rated driver. So we might see a little bit of an improvement there, but their car is only just rated a little bit better than that Sauber car. And they've also retained Billy Johnson as well in that second seat. He's got 2 years left on this contract, so he'll probably be here with Toro Rosso next season. And if Toro Rosso finish bottom this season, I don't think at the end of this season the Formula 2 team that wins is going to reject promotion like the Dams and the ART have done over the last 2 seasons. And then we get on to Williams. We've got Esteban Ocon, Lando Norris as our 2 drivers. Lando has actually made a little bit of improvement, up to 3.5 stars here. His overtaking's gone up. I think he's made a couple of gains in quite a few places. He's gone up 1 in a few places there, Lando Norris. And we've got Jake Hughes here, former GP3 champion, another British driver, not costing that much, only £47,000 per race. So just went with him because he was unemployed and cheap. And Fernando Alonso hasn't ended up back in Formula 1. Kimi Raikkonen is out as well, so I'm guessing Kimi might have retired. Let's just see if we can find Kimi here. I think actually Kimi Raikkonen has actually just gone ahead and retired. I don't think he saw any improvement in that McLaren car, so Kimi Raikkonen has gone. Where has Fernando Alonso gone? He's ended up with Harding Racing in the Indycar series, so they're not one of the better teams. I'm guessing they're pretty far down the order in Indycar. So he's gone from Formula 1 with McLaren over to Toyota in the Endurance series to now Harding Racing in Indycar. And there he is, that car rated 9th overall, so I'm guessing he's going to struggle pretty much this season. Approach, he's not interested because he's only just signed a new contract. He was going to be one of my options, but he wasn't interested at all in signing for us, but instead he ends up at Harding. He could have gone in to this Williams car this season and been up there with Hamilton and Vettel. Obviously with Alonso there, I would have paid the money for him. The $1.5 million it would have cost. Possibly he's only on 528,000 here with Harding Racing. I just don't know why he turned us down. Other than that though, is there anything happening in Formula 2? Have we got anyone out? We've got Brendan Hartley has moved to the ART and Callum Illett there. I think they've changed both drivers. Oh no, we've got ART. So ART Racing is the junior team. The ART Grand Prix is the #1 team. Yeah, so ART is the #1 team. So Brendan Hartley's moved to the ART team that is rated 2nd. So if we just have a look at the ART racing team, yeah, they're rated. It's the 2nd team in Formula 2. They went up from GP3 in the 1st season. Who we got here? Nick De Vries has moved to Dams from the Prema team. So whether that's a step on, where is the Dams car this season? One of the best, but their drivers aren't rated anywhere near the top. Who've got the actual best rated drivers in Formula 2? If we just click back on any team here, it is the ART Racing team. Obviously that is because of Brendan Hartley pretty much. And we've got the other ART and Arden there as well. So who's in the Arden car? I can't actually see Arden here. So we've got Maximilian Gunther. Where's the other one? And George Russell. So George Russell has made the move from ART over to Arden in Formula 2. Is there anyone out of the ordinary here in GP3? Doesn't look like it. No one really out of the ordinary. Anyone new here in IndyCar? Doesn't look like it. And in the Endurance Series, seems to be pretty much the same, other than we've seen Fernando leave the Toyota team. So everything is pretty much the same there. So as it is, Ferrari look like they could be struggling this season. Red Bull as well, with them going for Pascal Wehrlein. He's only 3.5-star rated, but their drivers are still up there, obviously, with Danny Rick. So it could be a chance. We're going to possibly see a three-way fight this season between Danny Rick, Vettel and Hamilton. Whether Ocon can sort of get into that area, obviously his stats aren't as good. Our car, as we move over there, is rated 4th overall. So if we just go have a quick look at our car here, we can't actually do that. We need to run pre-season testing, so we'll get into running pre-season testing. We've got the 3-stage qualifying coming up, the pre-season testing coming up as well. So we'll just get in and start running pre-season testing. It doesn't really mean anything overall. We haven't even seen our cars come out yet. Where are we going to be? Ocon is up there 7th, Lando Norris down in 14th, 102 miles an hour. The engine looks pretty strong still. We're not that far behind. One of the quicker cars out of the midfield teams. Our top speed's 126, so looking pretty good. Engine not delivering full power for Esteban Ocon. It doesn't really mean out in this game. But as we move over now, we can see we're rated 4th overall. We almost have the best engine, but Mercedes have improved. So we've jumped over Ferrari and Red Bull, but then Mercedes have jumped above us. The gearbox is a 6th best overall. The brakes are 5th. The front wing is 4th. The suspension is 3rd. And the rear wing is 4th. So yeah, so we're going to start developing some of the aero parts, which we can introduce once we get to Tondela. And then once we get to Vancouver, we can start introducing power upgrades. So that is what we're going to chase here. We're going to work on the gearbox first, on the power upgrades, but we're going to get straight in. And we're going to start building a new front wing here. So what can we do at the moment? A 25 to max. And we can get a plus 30 after that. So that's what we're going to get built. So we're going to get 2 new front wings, hopefully done and ready for Tondela. Maybe, I think he's decent enough that we can just chase the front wing in the early going this season. But we'll just see what the parts are like. Are we pretty even with the parts at the moment if we head on into here? So Delighted and Lando Norris is only just about content with this car. So we're just going to have to swap about a few of these parts just so these guys are happy with the car. So we've got the brakes, which we know are equal. Esteban's got the better engine. We're going to put the better front wing with Norris, and we'll give him the better rear wing as well. He's still only content there. If we just flick out of it, is he any better? Still 4%. What is... I don't know what is up with the second driver here, because Sergei Sorokin was like this as well when we gave him the better part. So he's now Delighted 11% to 12%. But if we do that, we've given Norris 3 of the better parts. I'm guessing it's just because the gearbox and this engine's rated. So we're just going to have to do that because I want to keep the... As long as the drivers against each other. It's still a little bit too overpowered though, I think. Because Norris, this suspension's a lot more powerful than this one. So I'm going to switch one of these back. Possibly... What should we switch back? We'll switch that back. So that keeps Lando just happy. Esteban Ocon's delighted with that. We'll just look at the mail. We've got the targets for the 2018 season here. I don't think we're going to hit second, even though it's quite a bit more money. We're going to hit that. So if we go to finances now, this is just going to be showing how much we've lost. We've letting Sergey and Lance Stroll go out of the team. So we're losing £1 million per race. So hopefully we're going to be able to be chasing this 500,000. Don't think we're going to qualify 3rd or above, but if we aim for 3rd or above in some of the races, we'll at least recoup £250,000 from this sponsor. We only have, well, we've got PNC coming up after 3 races, then we've got Hackett, Ray-Ban and Shandon as well. Their sponsorship deals are up partway through this season as well, so we might make a little bit of money there, but as it is, at the worst case scenario, we are going to be losing £17 million over the season. So I'm not going to build anything on the HQ because we're possibly going to once again quite aggressively chase development of this year's car, especially at least until we get to the 3rd point that we can introduce upgrades. Obviously upgrade dates are the 3rd of May at Tondela, 7th of June at Vancouver, 9th of August at Milan, and 11th of October at Phoenix. And we might concentrate, like we have done in the first season, once we've introduced the upgrades at Milan, start concentrated on next year's car from there. It just depends how close we are. If we're close and somehow near winning the title, we'll obviously upgrade the car once again for Phoenix. If we're sort of out of the race, we'll just concentrate on next year's car. But anyway, seems pretty decent here. Our drivers are rated 7th overall. Obviously, we still have a long way to go. Ocon's one of the better drivers in the game. Norris is a decent driver, but he's got a long way to go still. But they both do have that +2 across every start. They both have the racer bonus, so they will be stronger in the race than they are in qualifying. Obviously, a lot of the top guys like Lewis, Danny Rick, Vettel, they also have that racer stat, as does Charles Leclerc as well. I think quite a lot of them do. But as we see, the McLaren is the 5th best rated car. They have the 5th best rated drivers, just behind the Ferrari team. Obviously, you're going to see what Valtteri Bottas does there. Can Alex Lynn pick up the slack in that Ferrari that Raikkonen and Bottas haven't been able to do before him, to keep them strong against the Mercedes? I wouldn't say he could do. We're just going to wait for his scouting report to see how up there he is. But as we see, Force India with Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen in the car, their drivers are rated 1st overall. It's just a shame that their car is all the way down there in 8th, so they might be the best of the rest with that driver lineup. Obviously, it might be a little bit hard for them to catch the McLaren with Bottas and Van Dorn in that car. They might be in for a strong season, but our aim this season is to catch Red Bull. We'll get to see that in the next episode once we arrive in Sydney for the next Grand Prix. A rainy qualifying. Obviously, we've got 3-stage qualifying. I don't know how I'm going to put that into the video because I want to keep the videos pretty short. If we're getting into Q3, I might just show the Q3 session of qualifying and leave it as that. But anyway, that will all be coming up in the next episode, the 2nd episode of season 3, the first race of the season. But until then, I'll see you down the road in Sydney, and goodbye.